Howdy folks, it's the 4th week of November 2025, and welcome to This Week in the West. I'm Seth Spillman, broadcasting from the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. On this podcast, we share stories of the people and events that shape the history, art, and culture of the American West, and those still shaping it today. Maybe all Joseph Glidden wanted to do was make his wife happy. It was 1873 on a farm a mile west of DeKalb, Illinois, and Lucinda Glidden was tired of the cows leaving the pasture and getting into her yard. She urged her husband, Joseph, to solve the problem. Inspiration struck Joseph when he saw a bowl of wire hairpins sitting in a milk glass dish on Lucinda's dresser. He fiddled and experimented with wire, trying to shape something with a pair of pliers. He took the problem to his friend, a blacksmith, and finally made a breakthrough. It may have been Lucinda's problem, but she wasn't the only one, because this week, on November 24th, 1874, Joseph Glidden received the patent for the barbed wire design that would define an era. Known as the Winner, his innovation became the most popular wire in the nation, fencing the plains and altering the course of the American West. Now let's start with a few caveats to keep us from being pulled into any origins of barbed wire drama. Before settling on his design, Glidden had seen the work of Henry B. Rose, who had patented the wooden strip with metallic points in May 1873 after displaying it at the county fair. Other inventors, including Isaac L. Ellwood and Jacob Haish, had competing designs of their own. Haish and Glidden would battle over the patent rights for years, a fight that ultimately reached the Supreme Court, where Glidden's patent was upheld. By the mid-1870s, hundreds of barbed wire variations had been patented. The fencing problem was a hot debate across the country. As settlement expanded, spurred in part by the Homestead Act, so did disputes over land use. Fencing lay at the heart of the conflict. Farmers wanted their fields enclosed to protect crops, while open-range ranchers wanted the plains left unfenced. Branding helped identify cattle, but Glidden's invention would reshape the entire landscape. So what made Glidden's patent 157124 the magic number? It was cheap, effective, and easy to make. Fencing before barbed wire was either backbreaking or nearly impossible on the treeless prairie. Glidden's breakthrough changed that overnight, turning the open plains into a patchwork of claimed and clearly marked parcels. But containment came at a cost. Much of the wild that defined the Wild West began to disappear. The great cattle trails, where herds once grazed freely along the open range, grew increasingly restricted as miles of new fencing cut across the landscape. Author and cowboy W.S. James wrote this about the coming of barbed wire. When I saw a barbed wire machine at work manufacturing it and was told there were thousands of them at the same work, I went home and told the boys they might as well put up their cutters and quit splitting rails and use barbed wire instead. I was as confident then as I am today that wire would win, and that because of barbed wire and the railroads, the cowboys' days were numbered. For his part, Glidden didn't spend long in the barbed wire business. By 1876, he sold half of the manufacturing company, opting to retain a royalty for any wire sold. This decision made Glidden a wealthy man. According to estimates, his royalties eventually exceeded $1 million by the time his patent expired in 1892. But barbed wire had its dark side. It restricted the movement of the American bison, adding to the pressures that pushed the species toward near extinction. It was also used to confine Native Americans, marking boundaries on certain reservations and at government-run detention sites. In the 20th century, barbed wire became a deadly feature of World War I's trench warfare and a grim symbol of the concentration camps of World War II. Joseph Glidden died on October 9, 1906, at age 93. Not everyone mourned the barbed wire baron gently. The Duluth News-Tribune, writing on October 13, 1906, offered this blunt assessment: Joseph F. Glidden is dead. Unfortunately, his invention survives and possesses a most distressing, clothes-tearing, hide-rendering activity. We know a thing or two about barbed wire here at the Cowboy, as you might imagine. In fact, our barbed wire and branding iron room in the American Cowboy Gallery contains 1,300 unique examples of the Devil's Rope, pulling from our collection of more than 8,000. You can see Glidden's design as well as Henry B. Rose's The Wooden Strip with Metallic Points from 1873 that inspired Glidden. And with that, we've unspooled another episode of This Week in the West. Our show is produced by Chase Spivey and written by Mike Kaler. Follow us and rate us on Apple Podcasts wherever you hear us. That'll help us reach more people. You can follow us on social media and online at thecowboy.org. Got a question or a suggestion? Drop us an email at podcast@thecowboy.org. We leave you today with words attributed to John Bet-A-Million Gates, a famed barbed wire salesman from Texas who said this of his product: "This is the finest fence in the world, light as air, stronger than whiskey, and cheaper than dirt." Much obliged for listening, and remember, come find your West here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.